Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Apologies for being a little bit later than normal tonight, but there's actually quite a lot going on around a Varane bid and a few other updates around Camavinga, Paul Pogba, Donny van der Beek, Amad Diallo going on loan and a lot of other things as well. So welcome to the show. We'll fly straight into it. So first of all, let's get on with this story that's coming. Well, there's two stories about Varane tonight, which I'm trying to figure out if they're coming from the same source or not. The first one was from Marca, which was a couple of hours ago, saying that Real Madrid and PSG, at least for the moment, no longer see Eduardo Camavinga as a priority. United are now best positioned to get Camavinga, but those at Old Trafford who have offered 50 million for Varane would make a proposal of about 25 million euros for the midfielder. So that's from Marca, basically saying that at the moment, Madrid and PSG have sort of pushed themselves out of a race for Camavinga, leaving United as the favourites to get him, but also mentioning that United have made a 50 million euro bid for Varane, which is about 42 million pounds. So that was a couple of hours ago. And then in the last sort of half an hour, we've had another story coming in from Jorge Calabres, who on Twitter does things for Radio Marca and a few other things as well. Now, the Twitter account of, I saw this on MUFC MBB, but the Twitter account of, let me just see where it is, Madrid Extra ranks this as a tier 2 source. So it's not a bad source. And they're saying that Raphael Varane is very close to joining Manchester United. They've offered him a 5-year deal worth 12 million per season in euros. And Real Madrid could accept a bid of 50 million euro plus add-ons, with Varane currently closer to leaving than staying, which I find very interesting because there's two separate stories there, both coming in from Spain of a 50 million euro bid. So let's see how this develops. I think that obviously we had Fabrizio on this afternoon. He spoke about Varane with us, as we know. You can check that video out. United, Varane wants a new challenge. The threat is if Madrid offer something better than United do, that Madrid's not a bad place to stay. But at the moment, I mean, I'm not going to go up from 75% club, but it does seem to me that this Madrid move, where I think, look, I almost feel exhausted by the Varane story today of so many different sources, so many different people. And the general consensus is that we want Varane, we're winning the race for Varane, we're the only horse in the race for Varane unless he stays at Madrid. 50 million euros seems to be the bid. And yet there are people saying that it's very close, and there are some people saying that it's going to take some time. But the reality is Raphael Varane is going to be back in training very, very soon. You may have seen the pictures today of Manchester United players back in training. So it is a weird one. I think this could move really quick. I think it could move very, very quick indeed, because Raphael Varane is out of the Euros, as we know. I think the positive of France being out of the Euros meant that Pogba and Varane futures will be solved quicker. And I think that if he doesn't want to go back to Madrid for pre-season training, and we don't want, I think there might be some escalation from Manchester United on this, because the last thing you want, first assist from Jaden will be to Cavani, says Eduardo Calvici, and my girlfriend thinks you're funny, she laughs a lot, says Josh Thomas. Laugh him into bed. Will Ollie call him Rafi or Varane? Varane, Ryan, definitely Varane. So yeah, I think with I think the reason I think Manchester United might be trying to do this quick, which is beyond what we normally do. We don't normally do deals quick, but I think the real reason United are trying to do this quick is because of Real. You know, if he goes back pre-season training with Real Madrid and a new manager, he might think, it's not too bad here. If we can get a deal done in principle before he even goes back training, or get into Varane and say push the move before you go back pre-season training, that's in our interest. Because actually, as I've said, the big issue in this in this signing effectively is ourselves. It is. The big issue is Real Madrid. He's a Real Madrid player. Hearing Real are keen on Delo, which would be part of this Varane deal, and the fact that we are pushing for Camavinga and Pogba to stay, Donny is off, says Sean Turner. Well, we'll certainly be talking about that, and also I am planning on doing a bit of a call-in tonight. So links in the video description for that, for the Discord. We are going to be taking some of your calls a little bit later in the show as well. So if you want to get in the call-in, you can do that. But we'll talk about Donny van der Beek in a little bit. But Raphael Varane, Manchester United, Raphael Varane, certainly escalating fast and good. I'm glad that it's escalating fast, because I want this deal to happen, and I think we need to try and get it done as soon as possible. But 50 million euro bid is being mentioned a lot by Spanish reports, and we'll have to wait and see how quickly that develops. But yeah, I'm feeling confident about that. I'm not going to go above 75%, but I am feeling confident about it. Are the United stand going to sign James Cooper, says Chris B. I mean, I don't know what's gone on with James Cooper. I think he's a fantastic reporter for Sky Sports. And I've heard that Sky Sports have let him go. I don't know whether that's been confirmed. I mean, obviously, we've had James Cooper on the show before. And also, many people will know him from Sky Sports. But, I watched Sky Sports this morning with Mark Wright and, some JLS singer on it. And I thought, no wonder mainstream media is falling apart. It really, what are they trying to achieve? Who are they trying to appeal to? I just don't get it. I think James Cooper is a proper Manchester United correspondent. And I think, it's a shame if that is true, that they've got rid of him to bring in people like bloody The Only Way Is Essex people. But there you go. The world's a funny place. Hi Mark, do you think once we sign Varane and Camavinga, this will provide added incentive and propel Pogba to sign that extension, and it won't be a hollow contract, so to speak, says Samir? Well, as if by magic, you've led us into something that's quite interesting here. Got quite a few things to get into. I want to talk about this Diallo loan, because Fabrizio Romano has said this evening that Amad Diallo could well be going on loan from Manchester United. That would disgust me if that happens. And also there's mention that Donny van de Beek's future again. I'll be disgusted. There's no transfer window we can have that would make me be happy for Donny van de Beek to go, because that would make me one of these fans of a club that's just not caring. I don't want David De Gea to go because I care about David De Gea. He's one of our United greats. I don't want Donny van de Beek to go because, we didn't really use him, but let's get a new toy. I think being a United fan actually matters. I think, when you criticise a Man United player, there is always an element of guilt, and there always should be. And I criticise players, but I don't, when in the heat of the moment, I can be quite, angry, but I don't take nicely to abusing Manchester United players for their footballing performance. I don't think anybody does. I think we're very loyal to our players, and I don't want Van der Beek to go. I don't want Diallo to go on loan. I think it's be ridiculous. What sort of club mentality would that be, where we don't even really give players a chance before we get rid of them? I don't want to see that happen. But interestingly that you mentioned Pogba, because Paul Pogba has been mentioned tonight by Mohamed Bahafsi, Canal Plus, and a couple of other updates saying that there's no offer at the moment for Paul Pogba, but the interest from PSG is intensifying, and that Pogba is becoming more and more open to a move to PSG, and that PSG are studying this. I mean, I'm a little bit worried. I don't know about you. I'm starting to get a little bit more worried that in the moments of positivity that we've got around Sancho, Varane, and hopefully Camavinga, there's a growing momentum around PSG and Paul Pogba, and that's the only team I'm worried about. Juventus, I think yesterday, one of their chief executives, I forget his name, it begins with a P, he came out and said that, there's nothing with Paul Pogba. I think they'd love to get Paul Pogba, but they can't get him. I don't think Real Madrid can get Paul Pogba, but I do think PSG can get him. And more, we're seeing PSG and Manchester United and Paul Pogba. And it worries me a little bit, that does, because I think that, maybe PSG will wait a year, but that's still Paul Pogba going in a year. So I'm a little bit worried about where this may be going. I mean, Sahil says he thinks that Pogba will leave this summer. Patrici, that's it. Hi Mark, why can't we just cash in on Pogba and use Donny as a box-to-box, says Dasbo? Well, I think the problem is I don't think we can cash in on Paul Pogba. And remember, we are going to be doing a call in a moment, and I do have a big announcement for you all as well. We need to keep Paul Pogba, says FD. Paul Pog stay, says Dia. And Pogba will stay, says Shaz. But you know what, Shaz? At the end of the day, you don't give me any confidence in your prediction. I hope you're right. But I do worry about Paul Pogba. And as I keep saying, I think the thing that levels me up with Paul Pogba is that it's so similar to Varane. On one hand, we're saying Pogba's going to stay, and on the other hand, we're saying we're going to get Varane. Real Madrid are a big club like Manchester United. Varane is a star player for Real Madrid, like Paul Pogba's a star player for us. Varane wants a new challenge after years at Madrid. Pogba wants a new challenge after years at Manchester United. Yet we think we're going to get Real Madrid's Pogba in Varane to come to us, but we're going to keep Real Madrid's Varane in Pogba here, if you know what I mean. So they are almost the same situation. Pogba, Wijnaldum and Verratti would be unbelievable, says Ryan N. And hi Mark, yeah, I've read that one as well. So yeah, I mean, look, there does seem to be more momentum growing around Paul Pogba at the moment, and we just have to wait and see. Of interest, there was a story this evening coming out that Chelsea were looking to hijack the Camavinga deal for Manchester United, which isn't really even there yet. But McGann, incoming suspension. I think Neves will be a really good signing for CDM, thoughts, says Joseph. There's absolutely nothing in our interest for Neves. I know there was a story going around today. There's nothing in our interest for Neves. Maybe Arsenal, but not Manchester United. If Camavinga's comes, will Fred or McTominay go? No, I don't think either of those two will go, Shane. But I did hear something about Chelsea trying to hijack the deal. Fabrizio Romano has said at this moment in time there is nothing in Chelsea and Camavinga. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. So that's a good bit of news there. But look, do be careful about PSG and Paul Pogba. That's something that's worrying me a little bit. Good French source, Mohamed Bahafsi, who basically got the Camavinga to Manchester United story a week ago, spot on, is saying that Manchester United, Paul Pogba, could be PSG bound. Mark, I'm sad, but a good friend had told me he will leave 2 weeks ago. I'm just here sad, says Roy. Leave where, Roy? Where's he going? Is he going on holiday? Is he going to the shops? Where's he going? I'm intrigued, but don't be sad. Listen to the stories about football and, lose yourself in that, Sam. When do you think Varane deal will be done? Maybe this week, says Hyan. I mean, I almost feel that we're in that position, and got lots to talk about. I want to take your calls as well. I feel we're also almost in that position at the moment where we're in this world where we just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I'm Glazers out. I'm not happy with Woodward. I'm not happy with the board. I think they're incompetent and all those things. But also, I think that we've finally got a Sancho deal that's been going on for bloody, years. And I think that we get the Sancho deal done and we expect to live off that for weeks, which is what United normally do. And then as soon as Sancho's done, we're straight in on Varane and Camavinga. And it's like, whoa, what's going on here? What's going on, man? We're back. What's going on here then? Why, man? What's going on? And, we should really be... United normally would be swimming in the positivity of that Sancho deal for another month, but we haven't. We've got that done, and now we're into Varane and we're into Camavinga, and so it's very difficult to be able to predict. And the honest truth is nobody knows when Varane's going to happen. I mean, I know a couple of people I can ask, and I've been asking those people for probably about 3-4 years now, and that's the information I was bringing into the shows. I think it's pretty obvious who my sources are really at this stage. But the reality is, I do not, and they do not know when Varane is going to sign, because United and Real Madrid are in negotiations. It seems to me that we're going to be in a situation whereby Varane is going to sign for United for 50 million euros, and I would take those two stories from Spain earlier with some real degree of credibility, because it just seems that 50 million euros is going to be the price, and what a price that would be if it happens. To me, he's coming to Manchester United for 50 million euros, or he's staying at Real Madrid on a new contract. They're the two things at the moment, and I'm 75% sure he's going to come to United. And I feel, and this is only a feeling, I feel that it's not that he's going to come to United, and I'm 75% sure on that. But sometimes I look at the sky, it's a little bit grey, and I think I won't wear a coat, I'm not going to get wet, and then I walk 10 minutes into a 20-minute walk and I get drenched. So look, my feeling doesn't necessarily mean anything. Mark, off topic, says Per Eric Klassen, is it normal for United to meet so easy opponents in the pre-season matches, or do you think Ollie wants to practice low block attack, says Per Eric Klassen? And food for thoughts, what kind of dialogue about Man United, De Vrij and Pogba have? I bet you they talk. Food for thought, what kind of dialogue about Manchester United, De Vrij and Pogba have, says the Orkin. Well, yeah, I always thought that. I think the interest in Varane to come to Manchester United is very interesting in the context of what conversation him and Pogba might have had, because you would hope that Varane's desire to come to Manchester United is in part because he's spoken to Pogba, and therefore that would mean Pogba staying. But you just don't. It doesn't always work like that. In relation to our pre-season friendlies, Everton and Brentford, there'll be interesting games, and I just think a lot of these pre-season friendlies don't matter, because it's all about the fitness players and the strength of the team you play. We could play AC Milan, Real Madrid, PSG, and Bayern Munich as pre-season friendlies, but they might put their reserves out. Whereas we could play Everton and they'll play their first team. So, ultimately this is about not being able to travel. But big news in the UK. Big news in the UK today. You know what I'm saying? Big news, man. Because the UK is opening up on July the 19th. No masks. Nightclubs are going to open. Full stadiums from August. So we will have fans back in the ground. So big news on that. If Pogba does leave, thoughts on Donny box to box, says Sam Harrison. In fact, that leads me into my one of the announcements I wanted to put out, actually, before we start taking some calls. And I do need to talk about a couple of things as well, but let's drop that in there. So from next season, fans are back in the ground. And if you remember a few weeks ago, let me just remember this now. That's footballmedia@gmail.com. That's the email address you need to remember if you're interested in what I'm about to say. So a few weeks ago, we were looking to, like we do every 6 months, looking to get new people involved. And we've seen Levin coming in, and we've seen Joe coming in, and there's some others that we're looking to give a chance to as well. We asked people to send in a couple of minutes about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and a video, and try and do it as professional as you can, because that's the sort of professionality we're looking at. So the next phase is this. We are now looking for videographers, sound people, video editors, things like that, as we go into next season with some of the content that we're looking to get to do. Certainly for myself, a bit of out and about stuff. So if you are a videographer or anything like that, freelance, do send us your CV into that's footballmedia@gmail.com. And if you're Midlands based, that would help a lot, because that's basically where I am for a lot of this outside stuff. So that's the first phase of it. And then the second phase, and look, you might be fresh out of uni or something like that. The second thing is, if you are a match-going Manchester United fan, home and away would be great, but home, whatever, that's Football Media. If you're interested in getting involved in doing some sort of vlogs and things like that for us next season, and we're not just going to do one person, so basically you're interested in that sort of thing, that's footballmedia@gmail.com. Send us an email and what and introduce yourselves, and we'll certainly get back to you about that as well. So interesting stuff around matchday experiences that we're going to be bringing to you next season, and looking forward to that as well. So matchday fans as well, and of course we're going to do the call in a moment, which is for everybody to get involved in. But that's footballmedia@gmail.com. If you are a fan that goes home and away or home and regularly, and you want to get involved in some new style, exciting content we're going to be doing with the United Stand, get in contact. That's football@gmail.com. Right, Mark, why players would love to play for United now, says Jayling's fam. Because we're Manchester United, Jayling's fam. Stop being negative, fam. We're Manchester United. I keep telling people this. People just get lost in this whole, who's going to want to come and play for Man United under Ollie? Manchester United. Footballers are egotistical. I guarantee you, if we offered 90 million for Jack Grealish, he'd come to United. I guarantee you, if we offered 150 million pounds for Harry Kane, he'd come to Manchester United. They're not going to go, I'm not going to you because Ollie's there and he plays shit tactics. They're going to go, Manchester United's a huge club. I believe I can be the difference. It's the same with managers. If we sacked Ollie tomorrow, managers like Pochettino or Zidane or Conte wouldn't go, I'm not going to Manchester United. They've sacked 4 managers in the last 6 years. In their head, they would be, because they're winners and they're believers, they'd be like, I'm going to be the man that turns this around. I'm going to be the next Sir Alex. So ego plays a lot in competitive sport, because you've got to back yourself. Hey Mark, great job you're doing, and can you say happy birthday to my mum, Comfort, from AY Samuel. Happy birthday to your mum. And I genuinely believe, says Yellow Bathing Suit, Pogba likes Ollie and the promise of what's to come. But as a personal challenge to himself, he'd rather go somewhere else. And I think that is a very, very good point that you make there. I do think that Paul Pogba likes Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that he likes Manchester United. But this is about 5 years. The interesting thing is that we are not in a situation whereby, I think for the first time in Paul Pogba's... The sad thing is, if Pogba goes, if we've done what we're doing this... Let's say we've got Sancho. Let's say we get Sancho, Varane and Camavinga, right? This is Pogba's 5th year. If he leaves because he says, I've been here 5 years, I want to do something else, it's not been what I thought it was going to be, he didn't provide me that platform, you can understand why he'd do it. But how ironic would it be if he goes the summer we actually deliver what he needed? Pogba staying with Bruno, Rashford and all the players that we've got, as well as Camavinga, Varane and Sancho. That's basically the title challenging side we believe we have. So how sad would it be if Pogba went, I'm going, when we've actually brought in the players? But then again, I would say, he is going into 6th year, says Rishab. And what I would say as well is, if Pogba does decide to go, United can't sit there and go, well, we finally gave you what you needed. 5 years late, mate. You should have done it whatever the Glazers' new promises are, whatever Woodward wants to leave as a legacy, whatever Matt Judge and everybody wants to do now, it is a bit late in the case of Pogba if he leaves. You could understand him. But it would free him up. It would. You're absolutely right, Malaki Brown. Okay, just before we take some of your calls, I just want to touch on something else that has come out tonight about Amad Diallo. Fabrizio Romano has said that Amad Diallo could be going on loan in the next few weeks. I gotta say, I do not like this. I do not like this at all. And look, mistakes will still be made. I don't think everything at United is suddenly going to be rosy. I'd like to say that we'll get the players in that we need. We go and win the Premier League title and the Champions League and everything's great. But mistakes will still be made. You cannot go from a coaching setup and a board that has made so many mistakes over the last few years to flawless decision making. And I think Amad Diallo coming into this club in January for 35 million to go and be loaned out is shocking. I mean, basically there was nothing he could have done then. You may as well have just left him at Atalanta for a year, because what could he have done any more than he did? He came into the club in January. I had people from the coaching. I had people telling me that Amad Diallo was tearing it up. Remember in late January, early February, I was saying Diallo's really close to the team. He's absolutely tearing it up in training, and he was. Ollie kept holding him back. He scored that goal against AC Milan. He played as a false 9 at 18 years of age against the experienced Wolves defence in the last league game of the season and was superb. He couldn't do any more. Like, he literally couldn't do any more. If we're loaning him out, I will go back and say what I said before. If we are loaning out Amad Diallo, why are we loaning him out? Because we've got 3 forward players. You need 6 players for those positions, right? You need 6 players for those positions. So, Rashford off the left, Sancho off the right, Cavani up front, and then you have Martial as cover, Greenwood as cover, and Amad Diallo as cover. Why would you get rid of Diallo? Because that's my 6. Oh, could it be because of Dan James or Juan Mata or Jesse Lingard by any chance? Of course it bloody is. And that's what I'm talking about. Amad Diallo should be staying at Manchester United as one of the 6 forward options, whereby if Sancho's not playing well, you bring Diallo on. Like, that's his role this season. It's so glaringly obvious. But I said this when we gave the new contract to Mata. Diallo will suffer because of what we do with Mata and James and Lingard. And that, to me, is not what Manchester United should be doing. He's shown enough to be given chances next season. He's shown enough to be on the bench next season. But of course, he can't be on the bench next season because we're keeping Juan Mata, the great professional dressing room spokesman, over an 18-year-old talent that many people have said is devastatingly exciting and could be a world superstar. But no, let's loan him out for somebody else so that we can keep people that realistically you either give them a coaching job or you send them off to retire. Shocking's not the word, it's disappointing, says Mick R.H. And look, I'm never gonna swerve those sort of conversations, and why should I? There'll be people who agree with me, there'll be people who don't. Welcome to the real world of football, welcome to the real world of life. We're not all going to agree on some things. Joe was saying that he's really happy that Matt is staying. I respect that. That's Joe's opinion. I've got no problem with it. I respected what he said about Martial the other night, even though I disagree with it. We don't have to fall out about it, but I'm telling you now, in my opinion, it's a joke to send a £35 million player who's done very well on loan when he should be... If this club's about what it's meant to be about... I saw a lot of the United lads back in training today. Most of them young players. Shoretire, Hannibal, Hugel... Brandon Williams, and I thought, how many of these are just going to play in pre-season games and then be binned off, But no, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that in the workplace. Just proves that Ahmed was a panic buy, Mark. Well, Advath, Palestri's apparently going back to Spain, and if Ahmed goes to... Well, I said this at the time, and look, I think I'm right here. Back myself, I think I'm right here. When we didn't get Sancho last summer, which we thought we were going to do, we thought Dortmund were going to back down and they didn't. I feel that we panic buyed Diallo and Palestri. And I'm sorry, I don't see any evidence that we didn't panic buy those people. Palestri was loaned out straight away and Diallo's going to get loaned out as well. So we spent, close to 45 million on 2 teenage wingers that really we don't want because we're just loaning them out. Just like McFred, this is Ollie favouring bland and limited Dan James over Ahmad. The decision for him to go on loan is clearly on him, not the coaching, says Julian S. Look, I think we'll be fine. I think there's a lot to be excited about. Sancho, as I say, get Varane in, get Camavinga in. I'm excited about that, but I can't... Look, I think standards are standards. And look, you could have somebody could build a brick wall, right? And every brick that they've laid in that wall could be perfect. But one of the bricks might be a bit cracked or not as good as the others. Am I supposed to say what a fantastic wall that is? Or can I say, yeah, it's a great wall apart from I don't agree with that? And that's what I feel. I think United are building something really great. But there are still bricks in the wall that I go, yeah, I'm not massively into that, to be honest with you. So yeah, there we go. Right, let's see if we can get any calls, because that's what it's going to be all about tonight as well. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Lots and lots going on. Also keep an eye on what's going to be going on as well. Let me just see if I can pull Paul in. Paul, can you hear me?
Yes, mate. You're right.
I'm good. Yeah, just checking that the system works, and I saw you there, so I just grabbed you in. Paul's obviously one of our moderators and helps out with the call-in, so it's always nice to hear his voice. Old timers will know. Yeah, Paul, give us a bit of thoughts then. What are you thinking about this summer so far? Because I know you're pretty anti the Glazer movement, like most people. And what are you feeling about this summer now? It's moving. Sancho, Varane, maybe Camavinga, Pogba. We don't know. How are you feeling about the summer in general at the moment?
I'm feeling more positive than I have done in other summers, Mark. I mean, if ever there's going to be a summer where the Glazers are going to put their hands in the pocket, this is the one.
Yeah, it does seem like that. I mean, in relation to the signings, are you happy with if we get Sancho, Varane and Camavinga? Is that a great summer for Manchester United?
It's not a great summer. It's a good summer. I mean, I try not to get overhyped, and I'll get a lot of pelters for it as well. I'll try and be pragmatic and look at both sides of it. Sancho, Camavinga and Varane will be a very good summer. It will. And our starting 11 will be complete. It will look like a complete starting 11 that I haven't seen for many, many years at Manchester United, and I will be excited about that. We still need a bit of strength in depth, as far as I'm concerned.
It'd be interesting though, because you say, like, I agree, if you bring Sancho, Varane and Camavinga in, you've got a complete 11, but that's assuming Ollie doesn't say things like, well, we need to bed Varane in, so we're going to play Lindelof, and I've still got to put Pogba on the wing and play McFred, and Camavinga, you'll be good in a year and a half, but I'm going to loan you next summer. But yeah, no, I would say I would give it, if we do get those three players, it does fill three holes. I wouldn't give it 10 out of 10. I'd probably give it 9, 8.5, because for me, I'm not convinced. I mean, Camavinga's a very good signing, but I don't know whether he'll get picked. That's my issue, and so therefore I'd probably prefer an Ndidi or a Declan Rice, but I'm not so sure that we would go and do that. And the other thing I was going to ask you, Paul, as well, is in relation to Paul Pogba. I know everyone seems to get asked this at the moment, but where do you think his future lies? I was talking about PSG, more and more momentum around that, but we're finally sort of providing a team that Paul Pogba could thrive in. Do you think that's going to be in the back of his head here, or do you think after 5 years he might just think, I'm ready to move on?
I haven't got a clue what Pogba's thinking. I really don't know. He just he gives nothing away. He keeps us guessing, but I've never really been that fussed about losing Pogba because of his inconsistency. As far as I'm concerned, world class means consistent. The reason we would take Ronaldo back is because he's consistent, because he's consistently performing. He may not be the player that he was, but he's still consistent. Pogba has never been consistent. My worry's always been, we've kind of discussed in the live chat before, it's not selling Pogba, it's if we replace him. If we were going to sell Pogba and get Saul Niguez in, then I'd be okay with it. But we know we're not going to. Whoever we replace Pogba with, it's probably going to be Donny van der Beek, and we're going to be sold like Donny van der Beek's a new signing. And on that note, he won't be, will he? Donny's never Pogba. Pogba's one of the best players we've got at the club. Replacing him will be very difficult, and we would never do it this window. So losing Pogba, gaining Camavinga, where do we stand in the midfield? Are we still with McFred? If we are, how far have we progressed? It's a very difficult one, Mark. And I'm always, with this summer as well, in terms of signings, whatever signings we get, I'm still worried about how Ollie's going to use them, and if he has that management in him, which we all want him to have, to be able to assemble the players in a way where we play football which is sustainably good enough to be able to win the league. I'm still Ollie doubt, unfortunately, whoever we get. So he's going to have to prove me wrong this season, but he's earned the right to from last season's performance. I
couldn't put it better myself. I think you're right. I think there is reason to be definitely Ollie doubt. I would never say that, you can't paper the cracks with signings. That's, you still have to look back at last season and, the tactical errors, the dull performances, the defensive errors, the inability to break the low block, the inability to make quick substitutions. But I also agree with what you're saying. That's a big part for me, is that, he deserves the right to have a go next season. And also, I don't know whether you agree on this. I mean, the better transfer window we have, the more we move to a scenario, which is all I've ever asked for, is, and I don't think Mourinho got it, and I don't think Van Gaal really did get it either. And, Ollie, if he gets these 3 players in, I don't think there's many Man United fans that would look at the last 3 years of Ollie and say, Maguire 80 million, Wan-Bissaka 50 million, Bruno 60 million, Sancho 70 million, Varane 50 million, Camavinga 30 million. Those 6 players over 3 years with the players that you've got as well, you can't really sit there and say I've not been backed, I haven't got what I wanted.
No, you can't. And also he's taking the club in the right direction. I mean, if we get those players in, the players on the whole, his transfer windows, apart from the last transfer window, which is really, if you deep it, it was atrocious. He's going in the direction we want him to, and he's buying players which we approve of. And he's never had all of the players he wants, but he's at the end of this transfer window. Listen, I'm still very doubtful about Varane and Camavinga. History shows us that I've got the right to be, but if we get them in, then Ollie has got the platform to make a title challenge, in my opinion. I don't know how everybody else feels, but he's got what he wanted in. He'll have enough time to implement the football he wants, and at the beginning of the season, in the first 5 or 10 games, we will have a chance to see what Ollie is all about, because I expect a slight change of style. I don't like the style that Ollie puts out at the moment, but I'm hoping he puts it out because he hasn't got the players he needs to be able to play the style he wants. So if he doesn't change the 2 double pivot defensive football in the first 10, 15 games of the season, I'm going to be very disappointed, Mark, I've got to say.
Paul, thank you very much for opening up the show for us. Always nice to get you on, and we'll see if we can get a few more people on as well.
Yeah, we got a few waiting, Mark. Appreciate the time, mate, and look after yourself. See you in a bit.
Yeah, you too, Paul. Cheers, pal. People saying same old people in the call. That's the first caller, and it's Paul, because Paul sorts out the moderating of the Discord chat and also has some very good opinions. So he normally does start it off. So stop being a moaning little bitch, whoever was moaning about that. And I did see somebody just say they can give us a quick update. Big up to Paul there. Nice to see people giving him some love in there. The update is that there's 2 separate Spanish outlets tonight saying that Manchester United's put a bid in for Varane of 50 million euros. We'll have to wait and see how that develops. I don't think anybody knows how quick this deal for Varane could happen, but sounds good. Paul Pogba PSG talks not going on between the club and Pogba, but apparently more and more movement around Pogba being open to that. We'll have to monitor that. Camavinga, Manchester United, clear run at him at the moment, apparently. Again, Spanish reports that Real Madrid and PSG are not really in the race at the moment. Chelsea are not in the race as well, according to Fabrizio Romano. So, look, yeah, it's moving positive. And look, I think that Dion says they said offer. Mate, bid, offer. Might look, you might think it's something different. I think bid, offer, yeah, very, very big. Luke says, why certain YouTubers recently talking about me? I've got no interest in. As I said this morning, let your success be your noise. YouTube, look, people have got my number. People know how to get in contact with me. If they've got an issue, let's have a chat about it like grown-ups. Do you think I'm going to start having chats about things on YouTube? No. That's so 2017. It's childish. It's literally childish. If you can't pick up a phone and have a chat with somebody, then what's the point? I'm not having chats with people that I don't think I even need to have a chat with through thousands of people that want to talk about football because we're a community. So I'm not interested in anything to do with that. Even with Camavinga, Sancho and Varane, there is still the issue with CDM as Camavinga is more of a box-to-box. Need to sort that out this summer, says Salah. Well, he's not more of a box-to-box. Camavinga's not more of a box-to-box. Camavinga is a defensive player. his best attributes are defensive. Maybe he's a number 8, maybe he's a CDM, I don't know, but he's definitely brilliant at tackling. Van der Beek and Camavinga, I could get used to that, and the midfield would loan out, says Hodge Burn It Down. And what are the chances if Camavinga comes in, Ollie will start him over Van der Beek or next to him as a pair? Well, Carson, I need to take another call, but just very, very quickly, we're going to get Frederick on. Frederick, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
1 minute, Frederick, and I'll get you on. Just answering a question here. Just on if we get Varane and he plays next to Maguire, you don't need to play 2 CDMs. You might play a different midfield pair, which could well be a Camavinga and a Pogba, or a Van der Beek and a Camavinga. Frederick, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you, Mark?
I'm very good, thanks. Where are you calling from?
Norway.
Norway! Ollie in?
I'm actually only wait, because for me it's like, I know what he did in Norway, that was quite good. He won the league with Molde for their first time in 100 years, and he played good football. He did well, but I want to see him do something with United as well. So I say give him what you want this summer, and let's see in the end of the season. Are we challenging for the title or not? If not, he's not the right man.
Oh, I love it. Frederick, I love it. I think the chat are going to love you, because we love the Norwegian Manchester United fan contingent. But I think some people think a lot of Norwegians are just loyal to Ollie, quite rightly, because he's a Norwegian legend himself. But I totally agree with you. I think, Manchester United's first. Let's see what Ollie can do this year. Hopefully he will get those players in. Are you, just going on from what Paul was saying there, we've got Jadon Sancho. Are you feeling confident that we'll get Varane and Camavinga, or are you a little bit worried that this might just be paper talk and we've been down this road before?
We have still Ed Woodward as our CEO, so of course I'm worried. Don't trust the man for anything in the world. It's absolutely useless. We need a man who can know football and get us good football players. I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up with Michael Keane in the centre back, because he knows United. He has been there before. He will do a great job beside Harry Maguire.
I take it that's Norwegian sarcasm, Frederick.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I do agree with you, and I do agree with Paul that we've got to be very careful, because, yeah, you're right, Ed Woodward's still there. We're still run by the Glazers. But, I almost, look, maybe I'm being a bit naive here, but I do actually think that we might see Varane as a United player very soon, and maybe Camavinga after him, because I just think that there might be a change in the club, and it might just simply be because of those protests. They're scared, they've got to do something, and so maybe this summer they do it once. Do you agree with the players that we're looking at? Centre-back, Sancho, midfielder, is that right to you, or do you think there's other areas or different players we should be looking at?
No, I think it's right. I think that's what we need. I've watched every United game last season, and that's definitely what we need.
Do you think if we do get those players that Ollie is capable of getting us into a title challenge? Because I know you said that a moment ago. Do you think that Ollie can do that? What are the sort of things you want to see him do next season if he given those players in relation to selection and style of play?
I do think he can do it, but of course it must be luck with injuries as well, because in other areas we doesn't have a good backup. What if Cavani gets injured? And I think he will. If Greenwood have a bad period as he had last year, what do we do up front then? Do we play Rashford there? Do we play Sancho up front? So if we're lucky with injuries, I think we can challenge next year if we get Varane and a CDM.
And finally, I just want to ask you very quickly, what would you do with Paul Pogba? Do you want him to stay? Do you think it's time for him to go? How important is Paul Pogba's future to United next season?
I think it depends on his motivation. If he thinks that he sees good progress from the club and think that, yeah, I want to be a part of this, I think we can win the league. I don't want to leave United when we're onto this. I want him to stay, but if he's here for the money, or that he just doesn't want to be here and wants to be in Real Madrid, I think we should sell him, because Pogba that is not motivated. We have seen him before. He's not good enough. We should sell him.
Interesting. And whereabouts in Norway are you, Frederick?
Oslo.
I don't know it well. I know it well in relation to geography lessons, but I've never been. I would like to. Thank you very much for calling in, Frederick. Fantastic points.
Yeah, thank you for the talk, Mark.
Take care, mate. Speak to you soon.
Yes, you too. Yes, goodbye.
We'll get another call on in a moment, but I tell you what, I love doing the call-ins because we do get people from all over. One thing I did say at the start is how to get involved. The link in the video description is for our Discord server. If you've never been on Discord, the best thing to do is just get on it and understand it yourself, because I remember when I first got on it. Links in the video description. It's an invite code anyway. There are chat groups in there where you can just type away 24/7. There's all sorts of different groups for you to chat away in, so you can do that 24/7. Type groups, but there's also, if you go down, there's the voice chat groups where if there's space you can go in and chat with United fans 24/7, and it's from those that Paul will pull people into the call-in queue. So yeah, it works very, very well. There's a tweet come out from MUFC MVP. Let's have a quick look. It's all going on at the moment. There's so much news, isn't there? It really is. Manchester United and Real Madrid have agreed a 55 million deal for Varane. It is all done. Varane will be a new United defender. This is from Gazzetta dello Sport. Definitely take this with a pinch of salt. Don't think they'd break this. Yeah, so again, that's sort of fitting in with the fact that a deal with Manchester United could be in the offing. Look, I don't believe, I would never. We're live now. If this was 10 o'clock tonight, I would not go live off that Gazzetta dello Sport. Never in a million years. I would rank Gazzetta dello Sport as tier 3 at best. So I would not go live. I would not go live off that. But we are live at the moment. And yeah, but look, what I would say is, all right, might be a tier 3 source. Somebody might say it's tier 4, but the reality is, we are looking at a situation where, and look, Fizlo's right. I think everyone might just be guessing now. But what I would say is Gazzetta dello Sport, Daily Mail, Daily Star, they might all try it tonight or tomorrow morning. But there does seem to be a growing guessing thing, which is always a good thing. And as I said, we're live tonight off 2 stories from Spain that Manchester United have offered 50 million euros for Rafael Varane. Let's see how that develops, because Fabrizio Romano was live on this channel a few short hours ago, and he was saying, not yet, not imminent yet. We're not at that point. I actually said if you've not watched the video with Romano, it's well worth a watch. It's only 20 minutes long. We went through everything, and I actually tried to get him to play the percentage game. I explained about the 90% club, and I said at the moment, Fabrizio, I'm 75%. And if you watch his reaction, he's like, well, I wouldn't be there yet. So I don't think we're going to go from Fabrizio saying at 3 o'clock this afternoon, I wouldn't be 75% sure to 100% in 3 hours. I just don't think we're at that point yet. But it's definitely moving. And I wouldn't trust Gazzetta dello Sport, I'm afraid. You learn. Guest merchants trying to be first, says Dasbo. Yeah, and I'd focus on the Spanish outlets. Why would Gazzetta dello Sport, which is an Italian outlet, know ahead of things like, there's these Madrid outlet sources are the ones that you need to be watching for, definitely. Right, let's see if we can take another call. I'm really enjoying the show tonight. Lots going on, lots of variety. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Hello,
how are you?
I'm good, how are you, mate?
I'm great.
Good. Anything in particular you want to talk about?
I kind of wanted to talk about, the signing of Camavinga, the impact he could have, and maybe the Paul Pogba's contract, and should we renew it? Should we let it run it out? Which I don't think we should at all.
Go for it, mate. I tell you what, you're my sort of caller. I like somebody who just calls in and wants to tell us something. So yeah, talk to me about Camavinga first, then.
I looked at. You can't always look at stats, but I looked at some of the stats, and I know it's in the French league, but some of them are pretty good. I don't think Fred could really do what he does, which is like I know Camavinga lacks scoring goals and some of the assists, but CDM shouldn't really be scoring all these goals. But I've heard that he's very technical. He has a 93% passing accuracy. It's like he has 2.8 tackles per game. He has 0.7 interceptions per game. He's only 18. I think he could have an impact on the Premier League if Ole plays him a few times. I would like him to get him in more games than Van de Beek has been playing. And I just think he's a very technical player, and I think he's a good bid.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I saw something today. Somebody put a clip up on Twitter like they do, and it was clips of his debut for Rennes against PSG, and I think he was 16. But look, stats for me can be useful, can be totally useless. But I do think what you've highlighted there is totally relevant to the Camavinga player that I know, which is, yes, he's 18. At 18, you've still got a lot to learn. But the strengths of Camavinga are not his creativity, it's not scoring goals, it's not assists, it's his technical ability and his passing, and it's his ability to be tenacious and tackle. Now, to me, those are three. Now, whether he ends up being a CDM or not, he has the attributes there, doesn't he? Because he's got that tenacity, tackling ability, and passing ability. And to be honest, as you just said there, that's all I want. I want a CDM who can tackle, who can get around the pitch, who is intelligent and can pass the ball well. That's what we want, and that's what Fred and McTominay are not able to provide. So I agree with you on that. What about Paul Pogba? What were we going to say about that?
I was thinking, I think Paul Robinson, I think he was talking about it earlier. We were talking about it in the waiting room. I was outside playing, and I was thinking, what type of football do we really play? Because I can't really name any specific type. Do we play progressive? Do we play possession? Do we hit them on the run? Do we play tiki taka? Because I haven't seen us play a game where we possess the ball for more than 2 minutes. And I feel as if I'm thinking about the worst case scenario, that if Paul Pogba leaves or runs his contract down, and we maybe play Van de Beek in that pivot, maybe we could see something where Sancho plays giving goes, one-touch passing. I know Camavinga, like I said, is very technical. Maybe you could do one-touch passing. Maybe you could do overlapping runs. And I think with more and more creativity, we could play something like Ajax plays, where we play tiki-taka and possession.
Yeah, I agree. I think you know what, watching a lot of the Euros, I don't know whether you've watched it yourself, but I've been so impressed with the Euros because we're into the semi-finals now, and there's not really been what I call traditional boring international football, especially in the knockout stage. People are not just knocking the ball side to side and keeping it deep. You look at Switzerland's, you look at Spain's, you look at Italy's. They're moving the ball really quick, and that's leading to more chances. And it's almost it's a turning your back on the style of a Mourinho, really, where it's progressive, keep it tight. Teams are like, no, we're going to move the ball quickly. And I think you're right. I think if United set themselves up correctly, we can move the ball a lot quicker. I think it's so important. Here's a super chat from Anand. He says, it's ironic that we have youth, courage, success imprinted on our new shirt, yet the young players here are not given enough chances. Hi, Mark, can you address these this World's game, not the Aston? Well, I'll come back to that delegation gaming. Your young players, do you think we're seeing enough young players given their opportunity under Solskjaer, or do you believe that actually it's a results business and that's what Ollie's achieving?
No, I don't think we see enough youth. We see Mason Greenwood. I don't consider, McTominay has come through the youth system. He's not really youth anymore. Brandon Williams hasn't been played when I think you could play him in some games like Newcastle, where we've actually struggled against Newcastle at times. West Brom, we've actually struggled. I think we could. I trust Brandon Williams to fill in Wan-Bissaka's shoes. I know he's not better at tackling or anything, but I think you should have played him a few games. And Diallo's not through the youth, but we see Hannibal, we see Alanga, we see Shoretire. Honestly, you can move all the players you want. You can move the whole youth system. I mean, that's not going to work. You can move the whole youth system into the first team. And as long as you don't play 1 second, or if you don't play a full half, not really progression through the youth system.
Thanks for calling in, mate. Where are you calling from?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. That's a place I want to go. Thank you very much for calling in, mate, and please do call in again.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
You too, pal. Thanks for that. Very good call. Mark, do you know if it's true Sky have let James Cooper go? If so, I think it's a real shame. He's one of the good guys. I'd be stunned, Joshua, if they've let James Cooper go. I have heard the rumours, but if it is true, I think it's a disgrace. But as I said, look, I don't really do mainstream media for a reason. They won't have me. But I don't watch mainstream media either. I think it's getting worse and worse and worse. And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to be hip. They're trying to get down with the kids. And the reality is, I'm not a kid. I've got kids. I'm a certain age and I know what I like. And I actually like to put Sky Sports News on and see Jim White talking to James Cooper. Hello, Sky Sports breaking news. Let's go to Manchester United outside Carrington with James Cooper. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to watch Sky with Mark Wright from The Only Ways is Essex talking to a JLS dancer. I don't want to. That's not what I want to watch. I don't think even the youth want to watch that. So I don't know what they're up to, but if it's true, it's a shame. Manchester United and Real Madrid have agreed a 55 million deal for Rafael Varane, says Jeff. Yep, thanks for the super chat, Jeff. We've spoken about that. It's from Gazzetta dello Sport. We don't believe it. But what we do believe is the Spanish reports, and it does seem to be this bid could be going. This may well have gone in. 50 million euro is what they're saying. Ahmad on loan would upset me. Would love to see Hannibal, Ahmad and Garner, if he's not on loan, play some games. I want to see Garner go on loan, Max. Let's be honest, Camavinga isn't going to start. He'll be like Ahmed. You buy him if Pogba leaves, but if Pogba stays, go get Rice and show ambition. Sean, I'm on the same page with you there, Sean. I'm worried about buying an 18-year-old for 30 million because Ollie probably won't pick him ahead of McTominay and Fred. That's my concern about Camavinga. But I'd much rather he was a United player than a Chelsea or PSG player. And can I just say as well, stop disrespecting people in the chat. These people are part of the United Stand community that we've built up over 6 years. It doesn't matter a bit where people are from. They're part of this community. Show some bloody respect and loyalty in community. Don't be that person. Don't be like that. You know, back each other. Listen to people what people have got to say. Show some manners. Buy expensive players for an average manager or buy a world-class manager and give him good players. United choose option 1. No success guaranteed. Remember the Madrid Galacticos, says Rahul. And hi, would you rather Man United win the Champions League or England win the Euros, says Eugene. Absolutely honestly, I'd rather Manchester United win the Champions League, yeah. Yellow tight, Jim White. Yes, so let's see if we can get another caller on. I'm enjoying this show tonight. Make sure you smash a like on video. Let's try this one. Hello, can you hear me? You're live on the United Stand. Silence is golden. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, Mark.
Hello, how you doing, mate?
Oh, Mark, I can't believe I'm in.
You're in. You're on the show. What do you want to talk about, pal?
Well, firstly, I just want to say you're amazing.
This is good. Keep it coming, yeah.
Okay, so I'm Irish, yeah.
Yep.
I think there needs to be more scouts looking at the Irish players coming in. Look at Roy Keane, one of the best CDMs in the world. I'd say the best CDM of all time. Look how he captained United through the years. He was outstanding.
Mate, I do agree with you, but the problem is, have you seen your Irish team recently? It's crap. Have you got any good players coming through? That's the problem. I'd love a Roy Keane or even from further up north, a George Best or someone like that. But they're what's going on with Irish football? I'd love some Irish players at United again. Dennis Irwin, Paul McGrath.
Yeah, that is the problem. We need the players first.
Yeah. Get training in, mate. Get them sorted out. Just moving it away from Ireland for a minute. What is your thoughts about United at the moment? You getting excited about what's going on, or do you have any concerns?
Well, I nearly wet the bed when I saw the Camavinga reports last night.
Do you rate him? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. And 30 million. You cannot go wrong.
It would be an absolute stunning buy at that. And Varane, do you think we can get that done?
I think we have Varane. I think it'll be done like next 2 weeks. Well, maybe end of July. It depends, doesn't it?
How long's a piece of string? This is what I say. How close is close? You just don't know in this game. But this is a question no one ever gets asked. Here's one for you. What difference do you think Varane is going to make to Manchester United's defence? Considering we finished second last year, You know, what difference do you think Varane makes to that team?
Well, firstly, Lindelof is useless in the air. He gets bodied by literally any striker in the league, and his balance is terrible. Varane's fast. We can play a higher line, I believe, and he's going to make Maguire look good with his pace, and obviously he's good in the air, and he'll just be a great partner from Maguire, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. Where are you calling from, mate?
Ireland.
Whereabouts?
Kildare.
Kildare. Remind me what that's near.
Kildare League.
Where's that near? Kildare.
It's the Midlands.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay.
It's near enough to Dublin.
Oh yeah, well, I used to live there. Thanks for calling in, mate. Really appreciate it.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Can't believe you got in.
No, well done, mate, and please do call in again.
Oh, of course. Thanks, Mark.
Cheers, pal.
Good luck.
Take care. What a lovely Irish caller there. Love it. Absolutely love it. We've got a super chat here. We've done that from Rahul. Okay, let's see if we can get another one in. I'm enjoying this tonight. You can join the Discord chat through the link in the video description and have a play with it. Callum, can you hear me?
Oh,
how you doing, mate?
Hello.
You're live on the United Stand. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, Mark. Honestly, big up you, big up Paul, big up Luca. Oh, it's fantastic today.
What do you want to talk about, mate?
Oh, okay. First of all, I am Ollie out. However, I actually want to give big props to Ollie about the goalkeeping situation, because everyone's there going, choose De Gea, choose Henderson. He's got a tough choice to make. So what he does is he sticks with De Gea like he should. Up until March. March comes, he has his baby, he's off to Spain. But by March, top 4 pretty much secured. And realistically, we weren't going to win the title by March. So he sort of just had to go, okay, we know the Europa League is our best chance of winning something this season. So what he does is he does a switcheroo. Henderson in goal to get the experience, to scout him out a bit how he is as a United keeper. And De Gea, he tried to win the Europa League. Well, he did really well against Roma, didn't he? But you can't really blame him for the final either. So swings and roundabouts. But he really did do the best situation with it, in my opinion. And I think this season, it's shown through. He's got to stay with De Gea. Henderson just didn't show the quality in the time he got.
And yet we hear that he's probably going to go the other way, which is surprising. Why are you Ollie out then? I think that's what a lot of people in the chat are saying. You know, a lot of people in the chat like an Ollie outer, so you're on strong ground. But what is it that's made you be Ollie out, and are you feeling positive about changing that based on the transfer summer we might have?
I mean, well, the summer could be great. Ollie would have to do a lot to change my mind, because just the frustration from him not making subs. Like our family is shouting at the TV, make a sub, bring on Donny, bring on Twansebi, do anything, Ollie, please do anything. And he just doesn't. And then he sticks with the same McTominay and Fred, Maguire and Lindelof. And you just lose hope, because you think, okay, maybe he's doing it to secure his job. But then when we're like second, Man City are in their motions. We're not catching them. We've pretty much got top 4. Maybe he'll start to give other players a chance, do a bit of rotation, stop the burnout from these players like Bruno. But he just doesn't, and it just looks hopeless for him. And then he comes out backing the coaches when we know that coaching is not good enough. I mean, oh my God, corners. You're sat there. Oh my God, you're sat there going, we're going to concede every time. Because you just know zonal marking is a load of rubbish. You just don't do anything with it. And as well as that, you just think something about the fullbacks tucking in. At one point you have to say, you know what, fullbacks properly mark up and just pray that Lindelof will eventually win the header.
Do you feel that there's hope if we get these players in, or do you think that it will just be the same old stuff with the same old coaching?
I mean, I'm open to changing my mind, but he'd have to pull a cow out of the hat because, oh my God, from what I've seen, he'll stick with Lindelof and Maguire all season. You know, Lindelof will be wanting to leave, Bailly will be wanting to leave, Twansedi will be wanting to leave. He'll play McTominay and Fred. I mean, if we sign Camavinga, maybe there's hope, but he'd have to really do something special next season to change my mind.
I'll tell you what worries me, and I'll ask you this, and you know the chat will be interested by your replies as I will be. We have heard 2 or 3 times, and I try to ignore it, but we have heard 2 or 3 times from 2 or 3 different areas that we might see a formation change next season. And you know, maybe Ollie's been watching a bit of Southgate's back 5 and 2 holding midfielders, and maybe we might see Lindelof, Varane, and Maguire, and then McTominay and Fred in front of them. You know, maybe we'll see that. I mean, do you think he would do that, or do you think he's going to stick with this sort of system that he's got?
I mean, I'd pray to God that he does not do that. But I mean, with Tellez really wanting some more game time, showing how quality he is, sure, on the form of his life, you kind of got to try and fit them both in as much next season. I could see him doing something with a back 5 there to try and work something out. Especially with too many centre-backs, he's kind of forced to play a back 5 who doesn't sell anyone. Because you can't have Bailly and Lindelof, who are both wanting that first position, if you've got Varane in, who's definitely a starter, and Maguire, who's definitely a starter. So you've kind of got to bring in that back 5 to rotate them and make them all happy, or we're just going to see them all wanting to leave because they're not getting any game time.
Yeah, well, look, the chat love you. Well, not all the chat, because there are Ollians in there as well, but the chat love it. Thanks very much for calling in, mate. Really appreciate that.
Oh, cheers, Mark. It's been an honour.
And have a great evening.
Oh, you too.
Cheers, mate. We will conclude the call in there. I know that Robert McCormack's waiting there, so I will say to Robert and Paul, next time, let's get you on first, because we've just missed out on having time to do that one. But look, the call-ins were a very, very regular part of the show. Somebody just said there, do I have to be a member of the channel to do that? If you want to become a member, you can do. And I want to shout out Parth and Adnaban, who've become members. You get your badge next to your name and you support the channel if you become a member, like Luke82 and others. But you don't have to be a member to be part of the call-ins. The call-ins are something very different. You need to be invited to be part of the call-ins, but I've dropped the link in the video description for that, and that is an invitation link to our Discord server, where you can chat away 24/7, both verbally and on your little types away, especially during the transfer season. It's a good thing, and that's where we get our calls from. So Paul sorts all that out for us in there, and we get people on that way. So we'll definitely do another one of those this week. Obviously, it won't be tomorrow or Wednesday because there's a couple of Euros games coming up for that, but we will be back at 10 o'clock in the morning. Can I just remind you, Varane bid from Gazzetta dello Sport, don't take any notice of that. We're talking about United bid for Varane in relation to the 2 Spanish reports that are mentioning 50 million euros. So let's wait and see what happens with that. Welcome to Members Club, Callum Robertson. And of course, can I just remind you all, before you go, please smash a like on the video, but also that's footballmedia@gmail.com. So that's football media, all no apostrophes, it's just that's THATS football media @gmail.com. We're going on another round of people now, looking for videographers, video editors, that sort of thing. If you're interested in that, get in contact with us with your CV, whether you're at a university or whether you've got a career in that, freelancing. If you're in the Midlands area, even better, because you'll probably be able to help me with some stuff in relation to my channels, that's football and stuff. And also, if you're a match-going Manchester United fan, home or home and away, get in contact with us on that email as well. That's football@gmail.com if you'd be interested in giving your thoughts on the games after the game in what we've got planned for next season, which we'll be announcing in the next couple of weeks. So we're looking for people like that to be regularly involved. If you are a season ticket holder, home and away games or just home games, let us know. That's footballmedia@gmail.com. Fantastic community we have. TUS Army. Great to get some people calling in again. Lots more of that's going to be happening. We had the Romano interview this afternoon for you, which I hope you've all checked out. If not, check that out. Really enjoyed the show tonight. Things are definitely happening and moving in relation to Manchester United and a bid. Let's see where we go with that. Thanks everyone for watching. Let's see what happens in the next few hours tomorrow. Really enjoyed the shows we've done today. Fantastic community as ever. Take care, and I'll speak to you